It is 7 o'clock. We're going to call the meeting to order. The first item is our flag salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. Roll call.
Okay. Ms. Bollenbacher.
I'm here.
Mr. Chandler is absent. Mr. Choate. Here. Ms. Compatello.
Here.
Mr. Hof.
Here.
Mr. Oliverio.
Here.
Ms. Pokalnik.
Here.
Mayor Perry.
Here.
Solicitor Corbel.
I'm here.
Engineer Keenan.
Here.
Director Tedesco.
Here.
Chief Ford is not here. And myself, we do have a quorum.
All right, great. Next is our consent agenda. So we have the council meeting minutes from October 23rd and the bill list from November 13th. These are all on the OneDrive for everybody to review. So we're looking for a motion to approve November 13th, 2025 consent agenda, pending bill list approval by the Borough President, Manager, and Treasurer.
So moved.
Ms. Bollenbacher.
Second.
Mr. Hof. Any questions or discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. Okay. Public comments on agenda items. So at this time, citizens may address the Crafton Borough Council on any issue appearing on today's agenda, except for zoning, because we will have a separate hearing for zoning led by our solicitor. Only residents and taxpayers of the Borough of Crafton will be permitted to address the council. Comments on non-agenda items will be taken at the end of tonight's meeting. Speakers will be permitted to speak for a maximum of 3 minutes. Groups of people will be required to designate a spokesperson to represent them before the council, who may speak for a maximum of 5 minutes. Council has the option to respond or not at the end of the address. The solicitor is our assigned timekeeper. Please state your name and physical address for the record. So again, just emphasizing this for zoning, we have the hearing coming up during the solicitor's portion. So any of those, everybody will have the chance to talk during that time, but not during this time here. So this is for any agenda items. All right. Our first is Mr. Wozniak on the budget and the bond.
Yeah, I was wondering if someone could clarify for the public the bond fund and what that bond fund is, what it does, if it has to be paid back, how it has to be paid back, kind of what the payback schedule is, things like that, and how it will affect future budgets. So I think that if you could explain that, please.
Okay. All right.
So the bond fund was a $9 million fund that was taken out in March of 2021, primarily to do infrastructure projects around the borough. Currently, it is down to about $780,000, which is good. You have to have at least 80% of a bond fund spent within the first 5 years of having it. So we've reached that goal. I'm sorry, the first 4 years of having it. So we've reached that goal. And the borough pays back about $420,000 a year, and we will be paying that back until 2050.
Okay. Good. All right. Next we have Greg, and I can't read your last name, Greg.
Good evening. My name's Greg Tarno.
Tarno.
And I'm not sure if I signed on the right sheet.
Oh, are you
But if
talking
I-
about the zoning?
Well, I want to talk about, I've been a resident of Crafton for 35 years, and I've been on Belvedere Street 25 years. So the topic I wanted to just briefly talk about tonight was, I've just heard about this thing called land bank.
Okay. Yeah, that's not on the agenda, so that would actually be at the end of tonight's meeting. We can
Okay.
talk about that.
So can I talk later on that?
Yeah,
Great,
absolutely.
thank
Okay.
you.
Sure. All right. For anybody online, please raise your hand. Cody Sheets.
All right, everybody hear me?
Yes.
All right.
I wanted to talk about the item under the president's report on the traffic and the patience with the construction projects that are going on. I don't have any argument. I mean, obviously these projects, we've been working on these for years. They're absolutely, pivotal to the future of the infrastructure of Crafton. However, what I will say is that the control, the organization, the just kind of oversight of the traffic by those who are directing traffic, right, or those who are in that construction company is absolutely horrid. I mean, I think most of you know I'm in a business right there. I go home for lunch every day. It doesn't take me very long. And it's really less about the time. It did take me 26 minutes to get, 1.7 miles today. It's less about the time for me and more about the fact that there are like unsafe practices happening there. There are, multiple flaggers, but one in particular who is incredibly aggressive, who, screams. I'm not the only one. I have witnessed her screaming and cussing at people who aren't even close to her or any other worker to stop and effing stop and using expletives and things like that. And today I'm going through. I get stopped halfway through, and then I get told to go. And I'm not sure what this heavy machinery is called, but as I'm told to go, this construction worker is paying absolutely no attention and nearly, sideswipes my front right fender. So it's really more about this company just being safe in the practices they use to direct traffic. I think that it's incredibly poor, and that it just, maybe a call or some sort of address as to how I understand it's an enormous project. There's so much going on down there right now. But just how it's directed is like just unacceptable, chaotic, and dangerous. It's really creating. I see it every single day. It's creating unsafe scenarios for not only the people driving, but the construction workers themselves. So that's all I got.
Very good. Does anybody want to address that at all?
Well, I just thank you for your comment, Cody. We had not been made aware of a specific flagger that has been causing problems. We have heard here and there, we have heard some complaints specific, but not about a specific flagger. So we will definitely address that with Tedesco. Tomorrow we have a call with them, or no, not tomorrow, but we can get on the call with them. So I apologize that you've witnessed that or experienced that, and we'll do our best to communicate that and make sure that doesn't happen in the future. It's not acceptable.
All right. Anybody else online? Okay. All right. The first item is our president's report, which Mr. Sheets had mentioned. Again, I've had this on here for quite a few months now and asking for patience. We do have two major projects. The timing of those projects happen to be coinciding. That's also contractors, as you heard about the bond fund, and LCASAM requirements to have these projects done. So it's tough in the end. We'll look back and say, we have some good things here. Roads, the sewer separation is going to be important, but there's no other way to do it. And I really wish there was. Like we could just snap our fingers and it's done. But it does require road closures to get the sewers in and then start paving them and everything else. So I think, from a timing perspective, the crews are moving as quickly as they can to get things done, and that's what's important. So if you look at the scope of the project, it is moving relatively fast, especially for the Steuben Street portion here. All right, Mayor's report. Ms. Perry.
I really don't have anything tonight, except that I did want to maybe ask Mr. Price. I know that there's been some comments that have been made to me and in social media about why aren't we doing this work at night? And I'm just wondering if you could speak to that, please.
Oh, yeah. That's a great question. And I would say very simply, it's cost. It would probably add about 40 to 50% to the cost of that project to be doing it overnight. And we really have only had significant delays in the last month. and that's since they've closed Foster Street. And unfortunately, that is starting to happen at the same time they close Crafton Boulevard. It's an unfortunate reality, but we are expected to be done with both being on Crafton Boulevard and closing Steuben by the end of next week. So, knock on wood, most of these delays will be gone very soon.
Great.
Thank you.
All right. Solicitors' reports. It's all to you, Mr. Corbel.
Thank you, Mr. President. Okay, everybody. Tonight is the public hearing on the comprehensive zoning ordinance amendment. So I'll call that hearing to order, and I'll go over a couple ground rules here, and then we can move on. So I'm called to order the public hearing on the Crafton Borough Comprehensive Zoning Ordinance Amendments. And from a ground rule perspective, everybody who would like to speak has 3 minutes to do so, just like public comments. But this is a public hearing, and you will be testifying. So if you are speaking this evening, you will have to take an oath, and I will offer that here in a moment. Again, 3 minutes. When you are at 1 minute remaining, I'll probably put up a finger just so you know. And when you're out of time, you're out of time. I'm going to put a few items on the record, and when the hearing is over, we'll close it. There are no decisions to be made tonight. The ordinance is advertised for December 11th for consideration by council. So tonight is just your opportunity to offer your opinions or thoughts for council to consider over the next month or so before considering the ordinance at the December 11th meeting. Okay. So from an exhibit perspective, I'm going to put these items onto the record. Exhibit A is correspondence of various states to the Planning Commission, which transmitted each version of the proposed comprehensive zoning ordinance update, including the current version under consideration. Exhibit B is the June 24th, 2025 Planning Commission meeting minutes that included the recommendation to adopt the proposed ordinance under consideration. Exhibit C is correspondence transmitting the proposed ordinance to the Allegheny County Economic Development Department. That was dated July 25th, 2025. Exhibit D is the Allegheny County Economic Development Department's comment letter dated August 22nd, 2025. Exhibit E is transmittal correspondence to the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette dated October 16th, 2025. That was transmitting the public notice. There's also correspondence transmitting the public notice and the proposed ordinance to the Allegheny County Chief Clerk and the Allegheny County Law Library dated October 24th, 2025. Exhibit G, that is the proof of publication of the notice of public hearing and intent to review and consider adoption of the proposed zoning ordinance. That was advertised in the Post-Gazette on October 23rd, 2025 and October 30th, 2025. Exhibit H is the proposed comprehensive zoning ordinance update. It is available on the borough's website. And lastly, Exhibit I, it's an email that was sent to Borough Council and the mayor, dated today, from Vincent Roan, and it will be added to the record here as if it were read in its entirety. Council and the mayor have read it, and it conveyed Mr. Roan's opinions and thoughts about the ordinance. So those are the exhibits in the record. So if you're here this evening and you intend to speak or testify because it's a public hearing, I need you to raise your right hand if you're going to testify.
Steve, what
Yes.
about the people online?
We'll get them when they come up. I'll ask them at
Okay.
at that time, since I
Okay.
can't see them. So if anybody online is going to testify. Okay, so everybody whose hand is up, hold them high so we can see who's speaking. Okay. All right. Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you shall give this evening shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Yes? All right. Very good. I do have a sign-in sheet with a couple folks on here. Is there another one up at the podium, a blank one?
Can you put another one up? We do have two.
So
You want to put the blank one up?
we try to do this now where you sign in, you just have to say who you are, not your address. So we'll put a blank one up there, so if you didn't sign in earlier, which there's only two here, you could just sign in when you go up to the podium, and we won't start your time until you start to speak. So first up on the sign-in sheet is Mr. Valchev.
I just want to thank you guys. It has been a long road, a very long road, getting to where we are with zoning. I feel like it's in a very good place. As being part of the planning commission, former council for, five years now, I guess. I think that this is a important step forward. Throughout the planning commission's stewardship of moving the plan forward, we've tried to very much engage, not just with the community directly, but with their thoughts and ideas. I think of very few things outside of things that were just not feasible legally. Very few things that were brought forth to the planning commission did not make it into the plan. So I feel like it was an open, transparent, fair process. I'm glad that it's in front of you, and I encourage you to keep it moving forward.
Mic's not on.
Oh,
Yeah, you gotta turn it on.
Yeah, push the bottom button.
Yeah.
Thanks, Justin.
The words went through, I believe, so.
Yeah, I saw
I think
the
you're okay.
So that's it. I yield the time. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Let's see who's up. Ms. Piscaric?
Hi, AJ Pasturik. Glad to be here and echoing some of Eric's comments, but my own comments are that of a relative newcomer to the process. So it has certainly been interesting and challenging, and I appreciate the opportunity. I'd like to thank, first of all of the citizens who came forward, shared the many comments, attended many meetings. It was hot in the room. We had a lot of issues to discuss, and people were very forthright and brought forward those things. And I do really appreciate the participation and the number of times that we were able to do that. I also appreciate council's allowing us to have as much time as we needed to take that and run through it. So it has been a majority of my time in this position. I am feeling that I also appreciate the work of the people who started this even prior, and that includes people who are in the visioning process, but also I would say to Greg and to Jim, who were very instrumental in the beginning, or James, I'm sorry, James, I forgot James, sorry, who really helped me understand a lot of what was going on and learned how much they did in the background. I'm very comfortable with this plan as it is. I believe that we, as Eric said, have listened to and heard all of the comments and made as many decisions as we felt we could. I believe, and again, this is a round number, but I believe, as Eric said, we adopted a high majority of all the recommendations that came forward. Even if they weren't our first position, it was the citizens' position. We did as many as we felt we were able to do, and I feel very comfortable with that number. I also would like to say that I know that there are many things that we would like to have done or that others would like to have had us do that we weren't able to. And one of the things I would just comment on is I know there's a concern about the size of apartments and not having minimum standards that is an issue. And that is guided by a number of different things. And I'll let James or let Jim Price or Mike clarify the way in which it's done or required legally to support that. But from my perspective, times are different. I have personal experience with people needing a small apartment because it's all they can afford. And I know humanistically we would all want to have more windows, more space, more ventilation. But that's not a requirement. And I think it is very important, and it is sad, it is important, but I have personal experience with someone in my family who's living in a 450 square foot apartment and working hard. But she would be stuck without it. And it's her decision. It does have 2 windows. She has a good landlord. They both agree that this is right for them. So I just want to say that our times today are a little bit different. is one of the things I know that came up, and I feel humanistically, I wish that weren't the case, but I don't feel like I'm in favor of regulating that. So that would be the only other thing I would add. So thank you. That's it. That's my whole point.
Justin, do that. Thanks, Justin. Batteries right here. Thank you.
Oh, yeah, those batteries are really good. I know for mine. Mine are working.
Marks, would you just like to stay up there? I believe you raised your hand now. Who would like to go next? Anybody? Mr. Wozniak?
My name's Greg Wozniak, 1773 Bar Avenue. I just wanted to say that the zoning plan or the zoning ordinance is moving along nicely, except that there's some things that I think that we need to look at deeper. First off, we have just last night I was at a Trails Committee meeting and a public engagement, and one of the issues are that there are things going on in this borough, including that in our parks plan and things. So we have a lot of moving pieces right now that can affect zoning. And just last night at the Trails Committee meeting, we talked about redoing the steps on Belvedere, using Belvedere as a part of the Trails network. The situation is, though, Belvedere right now is R2. It is going to be community residential, very similar uses and allowances for those streets, for those zones. But we have the chance for Belvedere now to take it and make it a residential zoning, so that we can make it a safer avenue for our trails, and also the fact that things have changed. We have a very large lot now and a house that I believe has been condemned, and a church. All those properties are now becoming available for development, or will be soon for development. And the situation could be that we could have anywhere from another 50 to 80 residents on, or units on that street. That would make a lot more traffic for the people that live on that street, and it's countering what we're trying to do with the trails too. So I think, in essence, we should be looking at what are we trying to do in this borough, and how can we get done with the help of zoning, and not just look at zoning on its own. Thank you.
Who'd like to go next? Sir?
Okay, so get right this time.
Yeah, say your
Dr.
name.
Greg Tarno. Like I said, I've been a Crafton resident for 35 years, 25 on Belvedere, so I'm dovetailing what Greg just said. What's disturbing, all through the summer, spring, I attended meetings about the zoning, and the takeaway was that overwhelmingly, nobody wants more multifamily buildings in this borough. But then I also, for the first time, heard of this entity called Land Bank. I will, with alongside another resident, we went up and down the street 2 nights ago, knocked on doors, and the majority of Belvedere residents have never heard of Land Bank and really have no clue what's going on. As Greg mentioned, there's a significantly large parking lot, and recently, again, much to a lot of surprise for most people, there's been a house adjacent to, and I guess associated with this parking lot, that's been condemned. Across the street, there's been a condemned house. So the problem with looking at this from the last moment is the borough, from what I understand, I want to know, did you join this land bank already? Because I know that Greg Wozniak had written to this council before and said there would be no skin off our backs to put it on hold and let everybody know about for a year. My concern is it looks like a very incremental move to put something there that most of us don't want, not only on Belvedere, but Crafton. And I guess I don't understand how in the world nobody got that with all these meetings that we've had over the summer, spring. So my question is, did we join the land bank? What's going on with the land bank? Because from what I understand, it's giving some entity control over pieces of property that they could potentially put 3-story buildings. None of us have any control once you give it over. So what's the story here? That's what I want to know. It's not been clear. The zoning was good for this inner city. There's not enough parking. That was some of the good things. We heard the perhaps commercial space down at Crafton Ingram Shopping Center. Good. But potentially putting some sort of large entity on a dead-end street that's got a poor brick road, no end, that doesn't make sense. Too much traffic. Thank you.
Thanks, sir. Who's next? Yes, ma'am.
Crystal Beam. Unfortunately, I don't dovetail, but I'm going to piggyback off of what Dr. Tarnow and Greg said. As a resident on Belvedere Street for 21 years, I do believe that one side is strictly residential and the other side is what's slated to be community residential, and that side in particular is the side with the Methodist Church, the house, and the parking lot that they're discussing. I have a personal relationship with the gentleman who owns the church. I've been in talks with him. I've even tried to buy that parking lot at one time. I'm very, very concerned. We are a one-way street. We are a deplorable street. I've come to council meetings 20 years ago because of the fact that the street was falling apart then. I'm very concerned of what community residential would mean. Does that mean we would have to place a road through the woods and beyond the property at the end of Belvedere past Dr. Tarnow's house? I do believe there was some talk about that in the past, but it could be rumor or hearsay. I don't really know. I can't recall. But I'm very concerned because our traffic right now is heavy. I can't get off our street at times, particularly with the traffic on Steuben Street. I can sit there for 10 minutes. So I'd like to echo what they are both saying tonight and say that I have a lot of concerns, but I do know that sometimes where there are rewards, there are also risks. And that's what I would like you to focus on. And if anything ever comes of that property, and I don't believe anything is in the works presently, but if it does, I think you need to do some topsoil studies because I know we have a high water table there, a lot of water table issues in the house that has been condemned. My own house has a high water table. Our street, I do believe they're going to pave it with the sewer separation up to my home and stop. It's not even feasible to put any structures there, and I would say that you would need traffic studies, and I'm not an engineer, but I know what works and what doesn't, and I know I have a hard time getting off my street as it stands, and parking is very, very difficult at times. We shuffle our cars when contractors come or neighbors have company, so I'd like all that to be on the record for future. And I'd like to say that, you know, I'm not opposed to everything that's going on. I think that there's some good things happening. I'd love to see the house on Belvedere, 82 Belvedere, the conservatorship. I kind of talked to Eric and Mike when they were there the other day. I do have some concerns about that, though. There is a little committee, I guess I missed the last meeting, there's a little committee that was formed to talk about the conservatorship on Belvedere, and I believe Matt Choate is on that committee, Mike Tedesco, Chrissy Graham, and Eric. So that's about it. I just want to say that, we'd like to be welcome into that community as well.
Thank you. Okay, anybody else? Anyone else? Mr. Marks?
Hey folks, Justin Marks, 31 Oregon. I'll just keep it relatively short. I appreciate all the work, everybody involved in the process end to end. This is a years-long process. Lots of feedback, lots of back and forth. I think the community has had so many touch points on this with the different planning opportunities to come talk about, what we hope this neighborhood could turn into, various planning commission meetings, council meetings, the list goes on. And I think even knocking doors over the last few months, I've talked with a lot of residents, and I'd say most of them aren't concerned with the draft that is in consideration for council. So not to say that, there's going to be issues that come up with every plan. With a neighborhood of 6,000-ish people, not everybody is going to agree with every aspect of it. Definitely hear the folks on Belvedere. It sounds like there's many of them here today, but I think the greater majority of the neighborhood is ready for us to wrap this up. And if changes need to be made later, they can be made later too. But thank you all.
Mr. Marks? Mr. Roma?
Hey everyone, Corey Roma. I'm here to voice my support for the proposed zoning ordinance. After dozens of community meetings, thousands of dollars in grant spending, passionate feelings, and lots of back and forth, we're finally here at this stage. The package before you is the culmination of years of compromise and dedicated effort, and includes what I believe to be fair and sensible measures and updates. I think it better equips our borough to preserve many of the things that we hold dear about the town, while at the same time creating new opportunities for growth in our central business district and the plaza. So I'm glad to lend my voice in support of its final passage, and I urge you all to vote yes when the vote comes up. So thank you very much, and thank you for all that you do. I know this has been everybody's mentioned it, it's been a very long process. It has been at times tumultuous, and I know that you've all done a lot personally for this issue. So thank you for the attention that you give it and for your service.
Thank you, Mr. Roma. Who would like to go next? Anybody? Okay, seeing nobody in the room. Online? Is there anybody online that would like their 3 minutes? Mr. Sheets has raised his hand. Mr. Sheets, before you start.
Yep.
I have to ask you this. Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you shall give this evening shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
All right. Mr. Sheets, the floor is yours.
Thank you. First, I want to highlight that, yes, this has been an incredibly long process. I do appreciate the efforts of all who have been involved in this process. Whether in contentious moments or in moments where the community agrees. That being said, I want to highlight that throughout this process, particularly in Planning Commission, there's been multiple Sunshine Act violations in regard to motions with this, all of course nullified by votes later on. Nevertheless, the process has been, flimsy at best until, really the last 9 months. Crafton residents deserve honesty, transparency, and to be heard, yet a petition signed by 133 residents calling for impact studies on critical parts of the proposed ordinance was completely ignored by multiple levels of the government, by Planning Commission, by council, by administration. Absolutely no recognition to a petition calling for impact studies. And Planning Commission, administration, and council repeatedly claimed that these impact studies couldn't be done, that they don't even exist. Despite that being categorically false, these studies can be done on specific areas of the ordinance, and residents clearly asked for them. Instead of listening to your own community, elected officials have entrusted administrators wholeheartedly with the direction of this zoning ordinance, choosing bureaucracy over citizen input. And the voices of the few have been prioritized over the voices of many. The residents have spoken very plainly, very clearly, and they have very plainly and clearly been ignored, particularly on this topic. I'm not saying that every single aspect, of this zoning ordinance has been ignored by council or by administrators or planning commission, but there are certain things that you guys don't want to be questioned about. You simply just don't answer because you legally don't have to. And, I think it speaks volumes when, you refuse to even acknowledge a petition signed by 133 residents. One of them sitting in that room and, who didn't take his signature off of that petition until he figured out it was me who was circulating it. So, the idea that this has just been all good is plainly false. The council has an obligation to address things like this, and I find it incredibly disappointing on every level that no one, not a single one of you, have addressed it at all. That you just claim it's for cost, and you claim that people are going to have to do these impact studies later. But the reality of it is that contractors don't have to do impact studies on the entire borough. They have to do it on the projects that they are working on. And so cumulatively, we have no idea how these things are going to affect.
Mr. Sheets, it's been 3 minutes. If you could wrap it up.
Thank you. You got it. Cumulatively, we have no idea how these things are going to affect the borough. And, I simply think that these studies should be done. And that's all. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Sheets. Anybody else online? If you'd like to take your 3 minutes, please raise your hand. Let's see. Ms. Landon.
Can you hear me okay?
We can hear you.
Okay, thank you.
Before you start,
Oh,
hold
yeah.
on.
Yes,
Hold on,
sorry.
before
Go
you
ahead.
start. Yeah, no problem. But do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you shall give tonight shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Okay, Ms. Landon, the floor is yours.
And again, just one more Belvedere Street resident who is not okay with everything. I'm happy. I believe in progress. We need progress, and I get that. But as you know, Belvedere is a dead-end street with parking on just one side, and our conditions on our street are horrible. Every time I drive up that street, our car bottoms out on that. There's this mound at the bottom of the street. It's ridiculous. The bricks are literally coming up into a mound. So before any kind of construction or additional residents should be added to that street, the street itself needs to be addressed. So other than repeating what other residents have, I share all of the concerns of the other residents on the street, but I just wanted to add that.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Landon.
Thank you.
Anyone else online, please raise your hand. Okay, nobody? Last call in the room? Okay. With that, I will close the public hearing on the proposed zoning ordinance update. Council will have an opportunity to review and think about what was said, and it'll be on the agenda for consideration on December 11th. Next, under my report, is the Bradford Avenue tree citation appeal. So just a quick summary for the public. 2 meetings ago, we had an appeal hearing on a tree that was cut down in front of 52 Bradford, which was a borough tree and for which permission, which is required to be obtained, was not obtained. The tree was completely removed, and the owner was cited and appealed that decision, finding her in violation of the ordinances with respect to the trees. It came to council. The hearing occurred. The owner requested, it was more of a, I can't say I didn't do it because the tree's not there, but, can you please consider not, I think the original fine was $10,000. So council held an executive session following that meeting, held an executive session after the last council meeting, and was awaiting some additional information, which we've received since then. And so council's decision was to grant the appeal in so much as it requested a reduction in the fine. And based on my advice and the ordinance itself, we wanted to not pick a number out of thin air, and so the fine itself is based on the baseline fine that is available under the ordinance, which is for an initial violation, it's $1,000. And then also council thought that it was fair to have the costs that the borough's experienced expended in this matter to be reimbursed. So the total fine would be $3,840. And so my recommendation is that you all, and I'll put a motion together here, that you consider a motion tonight. And if it passes, what we will do is we'll put a letter together and send it off to the property owner. I'm sure they will know before that, but just to sort of put the period at the end of the sentence, we'll send a letter and give her instructions on how and when to pay the fine. So the motion would be motion to grant in part and deny in part the appeal filed by the owner of 52 Bradford Avenue, to deny the appeal in so much as the individual did remove the tree without permission or permit, and B, to reduce the fine from $10,000 to $3,840. That would be the motion. Someone would have to make it, and there would need to be a second.
I can do it. Okay. Not allowed on that side.
I used to be the president of the council, but not anymore.
Okay, so Ms. Wallenbacher, Mr. Choate, any discussion or comments?
Just a comment. I appreciate the process that we went through for all of this. I think I've never sat in an appeal or a hearing or any of those things, so I thought the process was clear. I appreciated her joining us, explaining her side. I thank everyone for the thoughtful and very intentional in considering all sides of conversation that we had as a group or as a council. So I just want to say I feel very good about where we came to with this with that amount.
I am going to echo that and say I think we all learned a lot through that process about how much the borough does actually incur costs in taking care of and maintaining the trees that we all love. And I think that a lot of very careful consideration and back and forth went into this, but it does reflect some of the costs that were incurred by the borough, and I think that we've learned a lot through that about how much it costs.
Biggest takeaway, please do not cut down your trees that are near the road without a permit.
Don't cut down trees that aren't yours.
No matter what your tree contractor may say.
Yes, yes. Get a second opinion.
With that, the Shade Tree Commission has also been heavily involved in this too, looking at the figures, looking at the fine, costs associated with it. Any other comments? Okay. Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes.
That's the end of my report.
All right, thank you. All right, next is manager's report. Mr. Price?
Thank you. First thing on my report is update on the budget process. We had our 5th workshop session tonight, and we did come to a draft agreement. So we do have a budget with no tax increase. For the same amount, it would be an 8.59 mil budget. And we do have 2 more workshops. We have a workshop before the next meeting, which is on Monday, November 24th, and then one on December 11th. But those will really be, at this point, perfunctory to review them and to make sure that everything is where we left it. And then we are voting to approve that at the December 11th council meeting. And then the next thing on my agenda, the discrimination law amendment. This has now been advertised. I did say it would be up for agreement today, but it was not advertised. So now it will be advertised on Sunday. And this again is basically improving the discrimination law and removing the board. And that will be up for consideration at the Monday, November 24th meeting as well. The next thing on my agenda is the vacant property recovery program. We received an application for 11 Fountain Street from the Burgess family. And we do recommend approving that. They have offered to go through and rehab that building. So, when we had viewed it, we were not sure that the borough could take that on. So we are recommending that we approve this. So that's Resolution 2025-22, approving the vacant property recovery program application for lot and block number 68-P-111. And so I'd like to get a motion to approve Resolution 2025-22, the vacant property recovery program application for the rehabilitation of 11 Fountain Street, lot and block number 68P-111, from the Burgess family.
So moved.
Mr. Hope?
Second.
Ms. Compitello? Any comments or discussion?
Are they just looking to rehab it back to a single living facility? Is that the plan?
That's correct. That's their plan. If they do get in it and cannot do that, they can come back to us and ask if they can demo it. We did find it in a pretty difficult state, so we're not sure that they're going to be able to rehab it, but that's the suggestion, that we allow them to take that on and attempt it.
Can, Mr. Price, would you mind just talking to anybody who isn't familiar with what the vacant property recovery program is?
Sure. Yeah, that's one of the tools that we have for mitigating blight. Similar to land bank, it's a way for us to take properties that are encumbered with debts. For example, in this case, this property has significant amount of debt to it. Plus, we have, I think there's $30,000 worth of liens on it. In addition, it's in difficult state. So this allows, it's a county program. We're a member of the county program. I think every municipality every municipality in the county has the ability to join the program. And it basically allows you to buy the property without all the encumbrances. We lose the borough will lose any liens that we have on the property, but we agree to give those up. So does the school district agrees to give those up, and the county agrees to give those up, with the idea of getting this back on the tax rolls. It's been used in the past for side yards, but we are trying to limit it only to rehabilitation buildings, and that's the case in this. They are going to attempt to rehabilitate the building first.
And something to clarify, the Burgesses own the property next door.
That's correct.
Yeah, so
Oh, yeah, that's another piece of this.
That's part of it.
You do have to be contiguous, you do have to have a property contiguous with the property in question to buy it.
Right. That's the important part of why it wouldn't go through the other items. Right. And it's right next door. There are, I understand, wildlife inside, and it's in very bad condition, so it affects the other residents on both sides, including her renters that are in that building next door.
Correct.
Any other comments or questions? All right, hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
Okay, thank you. The next item on my agenda is the salt purchase agreement. We have an agreement, a tentative agreement, to purchase 500 tons of road salt through the South Hills Area COG Consortium from Compass Minerals America for $88.32. That is a slight increase from last year, but this will actually fall into next year's budget. This will not hit this year's budget because we don't need to take it yet. We don't have to take it until June of next year, and which will likely happen because our salt bins are full. So I'd like a motion to approve the purchase of 500 tons of road salt from Compass Minerals America Incorporated for $88.32 per ton.
So moved.
Ms. Comptello?
Second.
Okay, Ms. Bolenbacher. Any discussion or questions?
Did you say this would be purchased through the SHACOG?
That's correct. Yeah, we do. They are, that COG out of any of the COGs in the county is very actively a purchasing agent. Municipalities across the county purchase from it, even though they're not members. Like, we're not a member of this COG, but we purchase through the COG because they get the better deals.
And how does this price compare to the prices in previous years?
It's I think it's 30 cents more than it was last year, so it's not significantly different. And this is generally in line with what you expect. If we were to go out ourselves, I think the price is around $95.
Do we have to commit to all 500 tons?
We have to commit to, I forget the exact number, it's either 80 or 90%, and we have to purchase that by the June deadline. So a good portion of it. I don't remember the exact number.
How does this fit with the budget for this year? Is this the exact amount that's?
We were actually over budget this year because of the consistent early snows we had this year.
Right.
So we were actually already over budget on salt because we had to purchase more than we expected.
I meant this purchase for next year.
This won't be hitting this year because we.
No, I meant for next year's budget when we're doing the budget workshops.
We did increase the budget because of the fact that we were low this year. I think we upped it by $10,000. I think we were at $20,000. We upped it to $30,000. We went to $40,000 this year. I don't anticipate that happening. It was a pretty unique year in the history over the last 4 years. So,
If we needed to purchase more late in the year next year, do we have the option to do so at the same price?
that's a good question. I don't know the answer to that specifically. Yeah, I'd have to check. I don't know the answer to that.
Any more questions? Okay, hearing none, there's a motion on the table. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, motion passes.
Next item on my agenda, trail study, public outreach session. We did have that last night. It was very well attended. Thank you for everybody who came. We had, I think, close to 40 attendees. Great comments, really good feedback, and we also had, I think, more than 20 people sign up for a potential volunteer group moving forward. So that was also a great outcome. That's exactly what we wanted to see happen. Yep, thanks Reese Smith for manning that table and making sure that, I think he was holding everybody's feet to the fire, making sure they signed up. So, thank you for that. It was a great session, and I don't know if everybody from the steering committee, can they raise your hand? I want to thank everybody here. Greg was on it, James, thank you, Eric. So we had 4 people here in the audience who were on it, and then we had a couple council members as well that were active on it. So thank you very much for that, and we should be coming up, we do have a draft plan in hand now. We're waiting for all the final information to come from that session before we schedule the last meeting. And the last meeting will be for that committee to have another look at it, see if they agree with what's in the plan, and then it'll come to council for approval. I think, and I haven't looked into this, but I think we might have to send it to the county for approval as well as an official plan, or to the state. Do you know, Steve, about for a trail plan?
It depends on it's grant funded, right?
It is grant funded.
Depends on the grant terms.
Yeah,
But
well,
typically, they have to review it.
Yeah, I think DCNR has to have a review. Do you remember in the grant whether we have to have a DCNR review of that?
I mean, the next step is to upload a draft copy of the study.
Okay, yeah, so we might have to have a review from them. So that'll be the next step, as well as the last meeting with the committee, and we'll go from there. So after that, it would, we could send it to planning commission, probably ideal to send it to planning commission too before you guys get it to approve it. And we can go from there, so. I just wanted to update everybody that on the OneDrive too, the Crafton Pool Manager report is there. She does a great job of summarizing what happened in the prior year, so if you want to take a look through it, it's really how Larry and I know what repairs and what work has to be done. She does a great job of listing it all out. And she was very thankful for Public Works, the help that they provided her this summer, for Larry and myself. So we'd like to thank everybody who's been active with the pool. At the next meeting, I can present the pool overall cost. We did do well again this year. We made more money in revenue than we budgeted, so that's great. And I think we spent less than we were supposed to, which is also great.
We presented it was a couple meetings ago in the finance report, yeah.
We talked about it, but, okay. So that's that update. And then the street requests, I'm gonna actually wait. Larry has a list of these as well, of the smaller asks that we have. So at the end of Larry's report, he'll talk about the requests from last meeting. So.
Is there anything from the hearing that you want to address? And I jotted down some things specifically around Belvedere and lot church, land bank.
Yeah, I can address a couple things. One is that Belvedere is not changing how it has been multifamily on one side and residential, multifamily residential on one side and single-family residential on the other side since at least 2004, if not prior to that, and that is not changing with this draft. The second thing being the land bank and buying of properties. The land bank does not build anything. They will not build anything. That's not their job. Their job is to take dilapidated buildings and rehab them. And they will only do that if the borough brings it to them and asks them to do it. I'm not aware of, there is a condemned building on that street. I would think that it's condemned because it's vacant and they had utilities turned off. That's why it gets condemned. They have to come back to us for a occupancy permit if they want to relive in that. But there's I don't know of any plans or anything about building. There's no plans to build anything there. There's no plans for the land bank to build anything there, and there's no plans for any buildings to be built there. There are three large apartment buildings on that side of the street. And if you downzone that and don't allow them to rebuild, that means they can't significantly renovate those buildings if they had to significantly renovate, because they wouldn't be able to pull building permits if they're out of zoning code. If something was to happen to the building, they're grandfathered in for now, but if they were going to make any major changes, they wouldn't be able to do it. So that's why you want to keep, if you have a street that already has several apartment buildings on it, you want to keep it in multifamily mode. It just makes things more efficient. It makes it less likely that there's going to be blight down the road. So.
May I add one quick item?
Yep.
85 Belvedere, which is more or less across the street from 82 Belvedere,
Right.
is condemned, and it's going through a foreclosure process. So it's vacant and foreclosed, and that's the parcel with the really amazing old home on it, adjacent to the big parking lot that needs a lot of work. So that whole parcel's under foreclosure. We've been in contact with the property management company to clean up what they can, and they've promised to do so, and we're still kind of awaiting some action there. But at a minimum, there's a property management company that's going to help with the property. The same owner owns the church. To my understanding, the church is not under foreclosure actions. So there is no movement on any church activity at this time.
And it's clear the borough does not own any of those properties. Those are owned by people or companies. Yeah, private. So there's not anything that can be done relative to what we would do
I think
through
that one is owned by a private owner, the other is owned by a church.
It's a nonprofit.
It's a nonprofit.
Right. Yeah. Okay. All right, engineers report. Mr. Keenan.
All right. Good evening. First item is the Broadhead Sewer Separation Project. Just wanted to note that right now it's currently in two different places, along Crafton Boulevard and along Warren Street, approaching and doing work at the North Linwood intersection. Right now along Crafton Boulevard, they are at the manhole at the Broadhead Avenue intersection and likely to be out of there and onto Broadhead next week. Warren Street, That is currently getting the concrete sidewalks poured, the concrete curbs being poured, and the road is also being reconstructed at this time. The sewer construction on that street has been completed, and into the intersection. We were told that starting next Tuesday or Wednesday, Coulter Street will start being impacted by this work, and the sewer construction will begin to take place there. Right now, the Crafton Boulevard closure and the detour are still currently in effect and expected to last another week. Closure of the trail portion is still in effect due to this road closure. We are also currently having weekly contractor meetings and updates to the Borough construction webpage as this work continues to move on. The expected project completion date is next year, October 2026. I just wanted to note that the sewer construction in the Linwood intersection has been completed. Also note that we've been receiving some, notices from residents about the urgency to call 911 for these types of road closures. Just wanted to mention that, we have expressed our concern to the contractor, letting them know that every day a road is expected to close, that they are to notify 911 and let them know so that they can be aware in case there is an emergency. But at the same time, if EMS does approach the intersection, they are prepared to act readily and allow them through if needed. Also want to talk about the tree removal status. There's 3 large sycamores that are being impacted by the sewer construction along Broadhead. Right now, there's a collaboration between the Borough, Urban Tree, Pittsburgh, and the contractor to help repurpose these 3 large trees into give them another life, repurpose, so to speak. And right now, we've approached what I like to think is the end of a decision on this, and we're looking to hopefully talk with the contractor tomorrow and let them know that we're still looking to make this happen.
Yeah, just to give an additional update to that, we did find out that Land Force and Tree Pittsburgh would do it for free. They're willing to put in their money. The only thing the borough has to cover is the additional contractor cost, which comes to $2,500, which is incredibly inexpensive compared to what we thought it was going to be, nearly 10 grand to save the wood from those trees. Now it's around $2,500, and which is well within the Shade Trees budget to cover, even with the new contract that they have going out. So we're going to recommend that they do it, move forward with it.
Okay, because Shade Tree had a meeting on Monday. We weren't aware of that. That must be a new development.
We just found that out yesterday.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's because it's Land Force and then Urban Trees, which actually repurpose all of the wood to very positive things. Urban Trees working on all the airports now. So they have all the wood that you'll see in the airport that's been repurposed is from Urban Trees. And it's one guy who has this shop that does it very well. So Shade Tree at the meeting, very upset, obviously, about the trees being removed, as I think we all are. But it's part of this project. They're just too big, and they're right there in the street. So we would never plant them there again. And they were planted there many years ago. But the good news is that they will be repurposed, and then the plan is to obviously offer all those residents trees through our Shade Tree program to help build the right trees in those locations, in the right locations that aren't in the street.
Yep.
Thank you. That's great news.
Good. Moving on is the Perrine Street sewer project. Small update here, but it is still in the process of obtaining a resolution of taking from the city of Pittsburgh. Per the solicitor, this is moving to a future Pittsburgh council meeting.
They actually drafted the resolution and circulated it, so.
All right. Progress. Great. Okay. Moving on is Ewing Road. Over the course of the year, the Borough and Gateway engineers have been having discussions on solutions for this road. Recent discussions have yielded that a $100,000 solution is in fact feasible. Based off of that, we did request a project sketch laying out the proposed layout of the improvements as well as the extent of the paving to take place so that we can review that and discuss. Just wanted to note that, over the course of time, we have several solutions presented to us, with one being a new road being built in the valley by the Public Works Building, one being Ewing Road being completely redone, the most expensive option being $970,000. So this is quite a difference from that, being that we can possibly fix this for $100,000. Anything else? Questions? Okay. Next is the C20 sewer separation. This project, I'm happy to say, all of the pipe and sewer structures are in the ground and complete. So that portion is done. But the project is still currently at the Steuben West Crafton intersection. Right now there's a lot of tidying up to do. Concrete work is being done. Paving needs to be done. Paving was tentatively scheduled for Monday, but unfortunately we had a cold start to the week that should postpone this. But today, tomorrow, they've been going to be doing a lot of concrete work, the ramps, curbings, and sidewalks. Which brings me to my next point, is the ramp at the southeast Steuben Duncan intersection is also currently being rebuilt at this time. That is taking place as we speak. That was expected to cost around $7,000 to $9,000. In addition to this, the asphalt in front will be modified to allow proper drainage to the nearby inlets. Also noting that crosswalks will be installed at all the crossings at the Duncan-Steuben intersection. Did get the okay with PennDOT on this being a state route. Duncan Avenue paving, the concern here was with the final paving that was done, causing some ponding issues on Duncan. We did have a meeting to discuss the discrepancies out in the field, and we are currently pushing efforts to have this resolved in upcoming paving. As noted before in previous meetings, Saturday work was scheduled up until November 15th. That is this upcoming Saturday. Happy to note that this is the last Saturday for that construction. Any questions? Okay. Next is the Public Works Building. Right now, there's major utility work in progress connecting the service laterals to the public utilities. Today, Verizon finished up installing their new utility poles along the drive going down there. And now Duquesne Light can come in and do their work, bringing three-phase power down to the new building, and that can be connected. The interior work, including utility rough-ins and framing, has been completed. Upcoming work includes drywall and additional utility installations. PA American Water estimate was also received for the water main extension and fire hydrant as proposed. This is coming from the bond fund, and with the change, it is still under the initial budget for the final phase. With that said, just want to note that the original budget on this phase was $1.4 million. Even with this estimate or this new water main extension and fire hydrant, the budget comes in under 1.3. So it was proposed a while back that the water main and fire hydrant get installed down at the new building for obvious reasons. If there's, in the event that there is a fire or something like that, we'll have a fire hydrant readily available nearby. The next nearest one is over 550 feet away. But with that, we've been working with PA American Water about making this happen, and we have received an estimate for $139,549.37. But we also looked into what if we can possibly try and build this ourselves and have Public Works possibly construct this. Turns out that if we were to go down that road, that we would be subject to a monthly vault fee of $500 for pretty much ongoing, indefinitely. But with that said, the motion here is to approve the PA American Water construction. With that said, I go to motion to approve PA American Water's estimated $139,549.37 construction, 560 feet of 8-inch ductile iron water main extension, fire hydrant assembly, and complete restoration from the connection point on Chartiers Avenue to the new DPW service lateral connection.
So moved.
Ms. Comptello?
Second.
Ms. Polkownik? Any comments or discussion?
This amount, this $139,000 amount would be part of still under the initial budget amount?
Correct.
Included in that?
Yeah, and it also includes a $20,000 contribution from PA American Water.
Okay.
Nice.
And with this, we would not be incurring any residual fees, like we don't have to rent the hydrant or anything over time?
Yeah, we do have to rent the hydrant.
Yeah, we do have to rent the hydrant, but it's for a much smaller amount. It's the typical amount that we spend or rent all the hydrants in the borough.
Okay.
So basically what it is do we pay for the structure now, similar to like Comcast and everything else? Do you pay for the structure now or for the rest of time? renting it.
Yeah, I don't know if you want to say the difference. Yeah.
Yeah.
The difference is if we build it ourselves, it'll cost about $70,000, but we have to rent that unit, which is, I forget what the exact number, $7,000 a year. So that quickly, we figured the flip point is 12 years. So at 12 years, this starts costing, if we do it for $70,000, it'll cost us more. Paying it up front allows us to not incur that cost, so we won't. So basically, it's a 12-year return on investment.
Yeah, this has been on the infrastructure committee agenda for about 3 months, maybe 4, while we kind of fully explored all the options and did some digging into what is required, what is necessary, what are our options, what are our alternatives, what would the long-term costs be, and it is a safety issue to make sure that there's water access down there, and we've came to the recommendation or to the decision that this was worth moving forward in this format, and it means that we will be paying less long term.
Any further questions or discussion? All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? All right. Motion passes.
Thank you. With that said, we'll move on to the next item. Steuben Linden intersection improvements. This project is essentially wrapped up and complete. The remaining work included replacement of a sunk sidewalk slab on Linden Avenue that has since been completed. And the final step is to put together the as-built survey requested by PennDOT, this being improvements to a state route. Any questions on that? Next is the 2025 Crafton sewer system repairs. It's important to note that these contracts are part of the operations and maintenance of the overall sewer system in the borough. Doing these repairs every year helps maintain the integrity and the capacity of the sewers and helps keep them operational and prevent failures. Contract A was for excavation. That work has been completed. Contract B was for manhole lining. I have here that the work was expected to be completed this week. Received note today that work has actually been done and is now complete. And contract C is spot lining repairs. That work has also been completed. Next is the 2025 road paving and brick plan priority. As noted in several meetings, the borough went out to bid for the 2025 Brick Street repair project. Bids were received on the 4th. The lowest bid did come in at $115,190. There was $100,000 budgeted for this project, and the project involves priority areas including Brick Street, curbs, infrastructure, and concrete header repairs. The impacted streets are shown below: Clearview Avenue, including the Middle Street intersection, and 3 other areas on that street. North Grandview Avenue in front of 8 and 10 North Grandview, Bar Avenue around the manhole in front of 1769 Bar, and Belvedere in front of 82 Belvedere Street. Some other notes are that we did receive 4 total bids for this. They did range from $115,000 all the way up to $400,000, and also that the next bid above this was at $217,000, so about $100,000 difference. With that said, I'd like to move to a motion to award the 2025 Crafton Borough Brick Street Repair Project to Salente Construction Company Incorporated at the bid of $115,190.
Ms. Bolenbacher?
Second.
Mr. Choate? Questions or discussion?
Over budget amount will be coming from reserves.
Yeah, and that is the road fund. That is the one where we actually have the most.
Overfunded, yeah.
Yep.
We'll also add here, like the engineer said, we had a wide range in pricing on those bids. But the bid that we selected, the lowest bid here, they're well experienced and have done this work with the city, with Alcosan, in a number of municipalities. So they're experienced at this.
Correct, yeah, they've already done several restoration areas in the borough. So we're aware of their work, and yeah, it's holding up pretty well.
Do we have the ability to take off a street to get it to where we had it budgeted?
We do.
Okay. And for Belvedere, because we're going to be paving Belvedere up to a certain point, where does this fit? in
It's
that?
beyond that, beyond those extents. Yeah, the paving goes up to the stairs, and this is located beyond that.
Mhm.
And I will state that these repairs are all ones that we've received a lot of complaints about, and they're all very significant repairs. They are, the one on Belvedere, the one, all of these are very needed repairs, so. Yep.
We have some brick repairs that we talked about for next year too, didn't we?
We did budget $100,000 for next year as well. We have not, we have not specifically called out what that $100,000 would be spent on, but we did budget for it.
I'm just concerned that our budgeting amount is too low.
And we have the 5-year brick plan that is in progress that Larry's been working on that will be guiding those priorities over the next 5 years. And these ones here that we did in advance of finalizing that plan were, again, they were the ones that are so obviously awful that we went ahead and allocated the money that we had budgeted this year to let's go ahead and fix those. And yeah, it's slightly higher than we had anticipated, but certainly worth a discussion about whether we should budget more in the future. But that 5-year plan that's in progress that should be wrapped up early in 2026 will be that roadmap for how we identify and prioritize the brick road repairs of the next 5 years.
For me, this has been on the agenda for a little bit, and I haven't heard from residents that live on those areas to say they're in support of us spending this, or even non-residents, or residents on other streets. So it's a concern, especially given the range of the bids. Like, are there going to be change orders? Are they going to find some different things that would happen in between there? So there's a concern. I would like to hear from residents regarding these areas.
Do you want to bring up why Salente worked with us? Initially, we were going to see if we could do this without a smaller piece of this, just to do just to start some of this work. So we've been very actively working with them. And I think they had more knowledge of it. I think their bid is probably the most accurate bid. I think what we're coming across is construction companies that don't love to do this work, but they'll do this work if they make enough money off of it.
Mm-hmm.
And those are the other bids that we received. It is the way that I would assume that happened, because, I mean, having something that's double the price is just shows that they don't really care if they win, but if they win, they're going to be happy about it. That's okay.
Or they don't do it often, they don't have that much specialty in it, and so they have to put more effort into doing it.
Exactly.
And so they charge more for it.
Any other discussions or questions? Okay. Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? I oppose.
No.
Oh, 2, okay. Okay, 2 oppositions. Motion passes.
Okay, thank you for that. Second part of this update is the road paving as part of the Broadhead Sewer Separation Project. Just want to recap the streets that are impacted by this. Crafton Boulevard, between Broadhead and the trail entrance, Broadhead Avenue, Warren Street, Park, Coulter, Cornell Avenue and North Linwood will get brick trench repairs, and North Emily Street and Belvedere Street will also be getting paving for this project. The last section is the permit applications, which include newly received permit applications for street utility work. We have 2 on here. One is PA American Water, the location of 8 Locust Street. That repair is expected to be 7 foot by 4 foot dimensions. And People's Natural Gas had a repair with no dimensions provided at 97 Noble Avenue. I also have on here several other updates, small updates based on the resident requests from the last meeting. 2 of them are on Afton Avenue. One being the branch that was brought to our attention along the wires along the west section of Afton Avenue. That has been taken care of since then and removed. Next is dealing with the Afton gates on here. A couple weeks ago, it was requested by residents that we open the gates. It's that time of year, helping alleviate traffic. This followed up with an influx of complaints about the speeding that was followed by this. So we proceeded to close the gates because of that until we got some more control measures in place. Since then we've received an influx to open them back up. It's really been a back and forth with this, but I want to note that we did purchase some 50-mile-per-hour speed limit signs. We're going to add 4 of them along the park section of Afton Avenue to help, make motorists aware that it is only 15 miles per hour through the park here, as well as a reduced speed ahead sign on Afton Avenue to help guide motorists through here when we do open up the gates. But it has been discussed that policy is that they stay closed until we do receive snow accumulation on the ground that will, help with plowing operations through there. Jim, if there's anything else you wanted to add with that? No? Okay. So I'll leave that up for any discussion, but right now we're keeping them closed until the snow takes place. Okay. But it has been put on Public Works' to-do list to install those signs so that when we do open them up, they'll be up and ready. Also, I note that there are already crossing signs along the park section. There's a Watch Children signs. The signage is up, currently in place, and we are adding to that. One resident mentioned the Belvedere steps last meeting about adding some lights along there. I want to note that there is already an existing street light on a utility pole there. I reached out to Duquesne Light and discussed this with them, and let them know this has been out for several months. I think it was due to the storms that we experienced early this summer, and he said that he did put in a work order to have this operational again for us. So hopefully that will get fixed soon, and there'll be some light along the steps. Next is the Duncan Avenue and Ingram Avenue intersection. The concern was motorists still turning on the Duncan Avenue, which is one way. We're going to take this into steps here, and the first step is to add a no right turn sign on Ingram Avenue, Crafton side, and then on the Ingram side have a no left turn sign at the intersection. I had already reached out to Steve with Public Works at Ingram, and there's no issue with us doing this. He's on board. He even offered to assist with traffic control when we go to put it out there. So that's in the works to get done as well. And Public Works, it's on their list to install this sign. So we'll have some additional signage out there to help hopefully prevent more residents from turning onto the one-way Duncan. It was also brought to our attention about some speeding on Duncan Avenue. We had since relocated one of our radar signs out onto there to help hopefully alleviate with that best as possible. We'll see how that goes. Radar sign has also been placed on Bar up by Kiever to help address the speeding along there. And also with the Belvedere steps, it was asked that we paint the front of them yellow to help increase visibility. That is also on their list of Public Works list of things to do. But that's all I had for those minor updates. If anyone had any questions about those or comments?
No question, just thank you for that update. I know that last meeting there was a lot, so again, thanks for the follow-up that you had to do on all of those. So.
Welcome. But with that said, that concludes the engineer's report.
Thank you, Mr. Keenan.
I mean, we could just have somebody stand down there at the gate, just let people go.
Go ahead, Pam.
Yeah. If you see me down there, please say hi.
Community and Economic Development Director's Report, Mr. Tedesco.
Okay, good evening, everybody. Topic A is the next Planning Commission meeting has been rescheduled to December 2nd at 6:30. The agenda says November 25th, which is the standing regular meeting, but that's Thanksgiving week, and we wisely bumped it to the following week. Zoning code, we've already discussed that tonight. Council will consider it on December 11th. Item C, 82 Belvedere. So there's a number of updates for 82 Belvedere. As you know, a request for proposals soliciting qualified, what we call qualified and responsible flippers for the home has been out for the better part of 2 months. Bids were due on November 12th of this week, which was Wednesday. I walked roughly 8 folks through the home, several of them a couple of different times. And out of all of those walkthroughs, we got 2 proposals, which is a little lower than expected. The committee, I forwarded the proposals to the committee. One proposal is for $20,000, and they'll do improvements, obviously above and beyond to get the house up to habitability and hopefully better than that. And the other proposal was for $13,500. Now recall, we've discussed this a number of times, but we needed proposals to come in around $40,000, $40,000 or north, for the borough to be made whole on this project. And not all of that $40,000 goes to the borough. In fact, the borough would only get about $17,000 of that with the tax liens and what we're in for and reimbursing time and all those things. The committee will meet next week. We're busy organizing that meeting. And as a reminder, the committee includes Councilman Choate and the 2 neighbors on the property, Mr. Valchef, who's sitting right over there, and then on the other side, Chrissy Graham is the direct neighbor. So we'll discuss it more next week. There'll be more to come on this, but we were disappointed at the pricing that came in for the proposals. And I guess, I'll just mention door number 3 here is we don't take any proposals, and we go back to discussing just doing it ourselves. But we don't need to solve for that tonight. Let's allow the committee to meet, talk it through, and then we'll come back in a couple of weeks to discuss. Any questions on Belvedere?
I think one extra note we can make is that both of their proposals had that they were investing less than $150,000 in the property. We have budgeted ourselves $190,000 to put in the property, and we do, based on assessments, assume that a decent renovation will turn about 220. 220 is the estimated amount that will turn. So those are the numbers that we have to start thinking about and what course of action we take based on those. Not what we expected from the proposals.
I just want to say thank you for the update, and this is our first time going through a conservatorship, and I think that's really kind of eye-opening it is disappointing that we didn't get more bids that were more in line with what we were expecting, but it's also really good to see kind of what our options really are. As we've talked about what our different options are, and should we do more conservatorships versus other options. And, well, this one maybe isn't turning out to be as easy as or as viable as we hoped.
This house, how would you rate it in terms of condition of a typical blighted house? Is it in really bad condition? Is it?
It's savable. I mean, Matt,
Yeah.
I want to yield to Matt on that topic.
It's not in bad shape. I mean, it needs completely updated, but, all the mechanicals are shot, but the foundation's good. It doesn't seem to be taking on water, so the structure looks solid. It just needs brought up to modern standards and new windows, new roof. It needs a lot of work, but I've seen way worse in Crafton.
So it needs a new roof?
Yeah.
And everything else, and you got 13,000?
Yes, and so those were the purchase price proposals. And then within those proposals, they suggest how much they intend to spend on improving the properties. Yeah.
Because I think the land is even worth more than that.
May well be, yeah.
On that
The
street.
13,000 number, yeah.
Yeah,
May well be.
I mean, the land itself is worth more than what those offers are.
Jim, how did you guys get to the 220 value? That seems pretty low to me on a resale.
We got a formal appraisal, and the appraiser assumed moderate quality improvements throughout the house for the appraisal.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
He
basic.
came up with 220. It does seem low to me.
I thought it was low
Yeah.
too. So, but we're going by what they appraised it at. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay. Next topic, item D, the Felix Amendola Memorial Bocce Ball Court is mostly complete with the exception of 2 benches which are on back order. And I believe those benches are firm rock benches. These are real benches that will not deteriorate over time. The very generous donor communicated to me that the project cost was approaching $75,000 to improve the court. So it is a quite significant donation from the family that did this. We discussed when the weather turns back to a warming trend next spring, we'll do a rededication of the court and do something formal for it. In the meantime, it is playable. We need to discuss internally about how to maintain it well. You have to rake the court, level it, and do those things.
Because it's just gravel. Is that how it's going to remain?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm not familiar maybe with bocce courts, but it will just be all these little small stones that are in there. Okay, because I've seen like deer prints and everything else in there.
Exactly, us too.
Okay.
They can play bocce too.
So we're obviously very grateful and thankful for the donor on that project. Item E, the LSA grant. So our liaison to the school districts, as a reminder, this was a discussion between possibly improving some of the grounds on the elementary school property in accordance with the rules of the LSA grant, which did the rest of Crafton Boulevard. Our liaison, who sits on our tree commission, convinced the school district to plant some creeping junipers in the appropriate places. And it doesn't sound significant, but I get the sense it was, there was a lot of back and forth on that. So it will not be a grand garden, but there will be more greenery along on the school district's property. And then finally, related to plantings, we have, for this year, 2025, planted upwards of 50 trees. About 16 of those trees have yet to be planted, but will be planted in the coming month and a half or so. And that's a lot of trees. We just did 32 trees at the turnway on Emily there, and those look really fantastic. Public Works did a great job, and the volunteers on the tree commission did a great job. So we are maintaining our Tree City designation, and we will launch into maintaining our Bird Town designation going into 2026 as well. And related to trees really quick, we are close to executing a contract for Crafton tree maintenance, the street trees. Maintenance being pruning for health and making sure they're healthy and sturdy. And we have all those trees listed and planned out, courtesy of our arborist. So that concludes my report.
I think to mention the 11 of those trees are going in our residents' yards in the next month. And then I believe 7 of them or 8 of them are going along the woods in Crafton Park, and they're going to be the hazelnut, butternut, pawpaw, and right near the community garden there. And then the 32 on the busway to make a nice shield on the busway. So some of those are helping from just our Tree Pittsburgh our Shade Tree Commission, but also we have taken down quite a few trees throughout the borough. I think, what was the count? I think it's
a number less than 50.
We mentioned it in a meeting on Monday, but it was significant. So this will put us over what we took down, but it's still something we want to focus on. Good. All right. Thank you, Mr. Tedesco. Standing Committee Report, Finance Administration Sustainability, Mr. Hope.
Thanks. As I reported at the last meeting, we've been watching the 2025 budget to actual expenditures and revenues, and the end of our fiscal year is quickly approaching. And while there hasn't been any significant changes since the last meeting, we are still planning for a slight revenue shortfall versus expenditures, largely due to taxes and fees that have not been collected, primarily some garbage fees and things like that we're looking into that we hope to mitigate for next year and next year's budget as well. But thanks to the manager doing some, again, creative budgeting and things, moving things around, we are trying to narrow that gap of the shortfall a fair amount. So thanks to Mr. Price for getting creative in some areas and how we can maybe narrow that gap a bit. So we'll keep everybody updated as we get really close to the end of the year here. The police collective bargaining agreement, for anyone who doesn't know, end of the year is the end of the current agreement with the police. We have been speaking with the police, and do we have any updates, Solicitor?
There's just the one issue that we're working through, but the economics are what they are. They're done, and then it should be on the agenda by hopefully the next meeting. So the conversations may be between the officers and the chief, because it's more of an operational issue. So, but yeah, very good progress there.
Great, thank you. We'll give more updates as once we have some.
And the correction on that is that the contract ended last December.
Thank
and
you.
it was an extension that was
for 1 year.
done for 1 year for
Yes.
this year. So then the contract's up for renewal for hopefully 5 years.
Thank you. Auditor, we're currently seeking proposals for a 2025 fiscal year auditor. Do we do that every year? So.
We don't actually do it.
Oh, we don't?
Yeah, sometimes we, like for the
Sorry.
last one, we actually had a proposal for 3 years.
Oh.
So it was, we do have to approve it every year, but it was, we didn't have to go out and, make a selection. Now we're currently receiving proposals, and then we'll have an update, hopefully by the next meeting.
Thank you for the correction.
Yep.
2026 budget resolutions. Again, we had a budget meeting prior to this one. 2026 budget and related resolution, I'm sorry, skipping ahead. Considered at the November 24th and December 11th meetings. Millage rates, we talked about once again, proposed is no increase, still 8.59 mils, so no tax increase. We'll take a look at the 2026 fee schedule as well as 2026 wage rates. And the last thing from my report is we need to advertise and a public inspection for the 2026 budget and the related resolutions that we plan to vote on at the December 11th, 2025 council meeting. So I'd like a motion to advertise and make available for public inspection the 2026 proposed general, road, sewer, and capital fund budgets for adoption at the December 11th, 2025 council meeting.
So moved.
Ms. Compitello?
Second.
Okay, Ms. Bolenbacher. Any questions or discussion? I know we had a meeting before this for an hour, so we went through a lot of the items. Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
That's the end of my report. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Hove. Infrastructure and land use, Ms. Compitello.
Okay, we have an update on the DCED $325,000 grant that we received earlier this year that we've had a lot of fun talking about this year. It's gone through our business development subcommittee and our planning commission. There is a public survey out, and that survey is still open. This is your last night to take it. It will close tonight. Assume we'll just
Or tomorrow
close
morning.
it at tomorrow morning, probably. Nobody's staying up till midnight to close that. So,
Actually, it closes automatically.
oh, it closes
Oh, it
automatically.
is going to close at midnight? Oh,
All right, you have
okay.
until midnight tonight.
Till midnight.
Okay. Yeah, so it closes tonight, closes at midnight. So this is your last chance to take it if you have not taken it yet. We did get this funding for pedestrian and related business district improvements around the Circle and Stotts Avenue and Crafton and our core business district. There have been a lot of ideas shared, and a lot of those ideas we think we can carry through with the funding that we have. We have put together 3 different alternatives that survey is seeking feedback on for anyone who hasn't taken it yet. They're all fairly similar in terms of what they include: improvements around the Circle, pedestrian improvements. This is what the grant is for and what we have to stick to. Crosswalk improvements, bike racks were discussed, trash cans were discussed. One of the biggest items cost-wise that's been very popular is lighting. So we have 3 alternatives that are all including those items, but looking at 3 different ways that we can lay them out. $325,000 does not actually go that far when we're doing concrete work to put in things like streetlights. So there are 3 different alternatives, 3 different layouts for streetlights. One focuses a little bit more around the Circle itself. One starts to focus more on East Crafton Avenue, lighting there, and then one has a bit more of a focus on the connection in between of Stotts Avenue But all three alternatives cover all of those areas. All three include lighting, all three include crosswalks. All three also include extending some of those improvements up towards the area in front of the fig tree as well, and some intersection improvements at the end of East Crafton and Noblestown. So those large printed boards were up in this building for some time. I think they have been moved with some of the activities that have happened over the last week, but they were out for a long time, and they are posted on our website. And that survey, again, it's open through tonight. Currently, options 2 and 3 have taken the lead, and they are neck and neck, directly tied to the 4th digit.
Are you sure? Option 1, I think, is ahead.
Oh, am I reading it backwards?
Yeah,
Option
sorry.
1 is ahead.
Yes.
Okay, options 2 and 3 are tied.
Are tied.
But option 1 is ahead. I'm reading it in the reverse order. Thanks for the clarification. Yeah, they're all fairly similar. We got 1.8 and 1.9.
Yes.
They're all fairly close. But yeah, so option 1 is the front runner right now. That is the major update for me. The other thing I wanted to touch on, we did have a lengthy report from the engineer. One of those items was the Ewing Road project, and I wanted to give a little bit more depth to that. We have been talking about that road for some time, and I just wanted to really acknowledge the work that was done and the value that was represented by having an in-house engineer. We have been exploring costs for that went up to $1 million, and we are now down at about $100,000. And we feel that there's a lot of work and a lot of effort that went into that. We're not looking at a lower cost because we are just trying to do something cheap and rush it through. We definitely did not want to do that. We know that's what got us to this collapse in the first place. No, we got down to that number because of really careful and diligent work that was done. And that was done in-house because we do have the in-house engineer now that was able to do that. And we wanted to really just talk about the effort that went into that and how much it has been able to save us, going from $1 million estimate, which we were pretty close to thinking that's what we were going to have to go for. And some of the work that got us to this point, besides the initial due diligence, there was a lot of outreach to residents along that corridor, direct one-on-one conversations to really understand what their experiences were, what kinds of traffic patterns they were seeing, what kinds of issues they were seeing, to get deeper understanding beyond just this road collapsed. There was a traffic count. We did traffic counts for a period of time to understand, and that included on game days, to understand what the actual counts are and what the actual load is that road needs to carry. And that was one of the real game changers, because being able to know not just this carries a lot of traffic, but being able to get actual, real data and real counts, and spending the time and the effort to do that, it does carry less traffic than we thought, even on a game day, even on its busiest peak. And that allowed us to really value engineer a less costly solution, whereas the initial assumption, even by our contracted engineers, the assumption was that we had to do a more expensive solution, because the assumption was that it needed to carry a lot more weight. And with all of we've been working on this since, when did it collapse? Early this year?
It was the end of last year. October of last year.
This has been going on for nearly a year. There's been a lot of different alternatives explored, a lot of options looking into putting that road into different locations, and each of those was explored in detail. And I really want to acknowledge the effort that led to this, and the value that it has represented to have this in-house specialty and to have our engineer here doing all of that work. We've gotten this cost down to a tested, checked, triple-checked solution for $100,000 that can handle and meet the demand and meet the needs to get that road safely back up in place.
That deserved an applause. That was very good. Good job, Larry.
He wasn't going to say that.
I know. Yeah, it's awesome.
That's awesome. I want to add one other small thing too. So that was item D on the engineer's agenda. Item G was the O&M repairs. We talk about these constantly. We've been talking about them all year. The sewer repairs are done. And that has also been one that has taken a lot of time and effort and oversight. And that time and effort and oversight to be managing that project, with expertise here in Crafton, help that project get done and complete and under budget. So I want to recognize that too. That's all I recall.
All right, thank you, Ms. Comptello. All right, Communication and Recreation, Ms. Bollenbacher.
Thank you to everybody who took part in the free swap this past weekend. I unfortunately was not able to make it, but I understand it was a very successful event. We got a lot of good feedback from that, and any leftovers that were not swapped have already been donated to local nonprofits. And there are plans to have, I believe, multiple free swaps in 2026. Our final event of the year is our Celebration of Lights. That'll be Saturday, December 6th from 4 p.m. to 8 p.m. We'll have holiday vendors. We'll have some entertainment from Carlington High School's choir, as well as Joyful Noise Choir from Joy's School of Dance, as well as holiday vendors. We will have some friends from Frozen helping out the big guy in the red suit, and we will do the light turn on at dusk. Basically, as soon as it's dark, they'll turn the lights on. They are looking for some help decorating for the holiday. As Pam said to me earlier today, 'tis the season to help your neighbor. So if anybody is free to set up some decorations in the park, please keep an eye on the Facebook page for the rec board, or go to the website, or you can email me or Pam or anybody like that. We'll be happy to let you know. There will be some decorating happening this Sunday because the weather is supposed to be nice. So if anybody's available for a few hours in the morning, you can even let me know tonight, and I will let you know what time. Other than that, the newsletter, our next newsletter is slated to come out in February. We will be putting out requests for articles forthcoming pretty soon. Other than that, that's it for me, unless anybody has any questions.
Thank you, Ms. Bollenbacher. Board Commission Recruiting, Ms. Buchanan.
Thank you. I feel like I haven't had much to say in this section for a while because all the boards and commissions have been very full, but we knew we were going to have some openings towards the end of this year, and time flies, and here we are. It's almost the end of the year. So I'll read the ones that are pretty soon within the next, basically, I'm going to say January, February-ish timeframe that we will be having coming available. So we currently have a Civil Service Commission. It's an alternate seat. This has been posted for a while. That is available. We had a resignation on the Planning Commission, so that seat will be coming available basically to start the new year. So again, if you hear a lot about Planning Commission, if that is something that interests you, we will be having a seat becoming available. The Library Board had a resignation as well, so we're going to be encouraging folks, if you're interested in that, to again check out the description online, and then please feel free to apply. And the Zoning Hearing Board has a 3-year term, which is a regular seat, and an alternate seat. Both will be becoming available at the start of the new year. So a few more once we get a little deeper into 2026. That's kind of a fib. It's basically all in Q1 for the first part of the year. So Recreation Board, we have one position or one seat becoming available at the end of February. And we also just found out yesterday or recently that we are going to have another Recreation Board seat available. It is not listed because we just found out yesterday. So 2 seats on Rec Board will be available if anyone is interested in being a part of the Rec Board starting at the end of this year and at the end of February. Library Board will have another seat in March, and then Shade Tree Commission will have a seat at the end of March as well. There's a few more on here. I don't think I need to read them all, but I just want, I'm gonna, at the next meeting that we have, I'm gonna print out a description of the overview for all these boards and commissions. All of this information is posted on the website, but I totally get it. We do hear a lot. We need to have more multi-channel communications out to folks. So again, it will be posted on our on the official Borough Facebook page. We'll have it on Savvy, the descriptions, and it is on our website, the description for each board and commission, as well as the link to apply. It's a very easy application process, and then I'll have descriptions here as well for folks. If you are interested in any of these boards or commissions, what they do, the amount of time involved. I think when, keeping in mind these are all volunteers, when you are giving up your time, you need to be aware of the expectations and commitment that is involved in that. So I don't want to ramble too long. It's been a long meeting, but again, we are going to be hearing from me a little bit more than you have in the past because we do have a good amount of seats to fill in these various boards and commissions.
We want to just add quick too, we know we have gone through a full
yeah.
website update this year,
Yep.
which has been great. Hopefully everyone is finding that it's well designed and is easy to use. But that application is posted on that website, and we're also using a different platform to host the application. So what all that means is that we do have our applications for boards and commissions online. We have been finding just in the last few days that they're not necessarily being submitted. So we're going to be checking into that promptly and hopefully getting that fixed tomorrow. We'll check into that right away. But if you have applied for anything in the last week or two, since we've started sharing some of these upcoming positions, or if you want to in the next week, please don't hesitate to just email anyone. Email the borough or email Pam or any council member just to let us know that you did apply, because we don't want to lose any applications, and there is a glitch going on right now.
That's a great note. I have 8 stars beside that note on here on my to do that. So that is a really good point. Thank you for for mentioning that, because we were talking about that earlier. So if just all of our council websites, our email addresses are on the site. If you have applied, and typically I respond within 48 hours acknowledging receiving your application. Next meeting, I can go through that application process for more transparency on how it works. But yes, if you don't hear from me within 48 hours of once you hit apply, that might mean I did not receive it. So take that into consideration and email anyone up here to make sure it's been seen.
Did you notify Charisma of that? I was not aware that you were having issues.
We just recognized this like 2 days ago. We had someone who said they applied to the civil service, and I said I didn't get it, because typically we certainly get it. I think all of us would get them. And I just told Mike, I think with the website change, something didn't connect with that. So he has it on, it's like first thing to look into. But hopefully it's just I'm not a tech person. Let's just flip the switch, fix it, and they'll all just roll in. So. Because I know everyone is very, very excited to apply to be on all these boards and commissions,
So for clarity, 1 through 4 are because of how it works, the 45 days in advance and everything, so 1 through 4 on here are active right now. The 2 resignations, zoning hearing is now active because it's the time period above, and then civil service has been there.
Yeah, I mean, apply.
Yep.
They're
And we'll post, now that they're 45 days out, we'll post them.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Okay. All right, thank you, Ms. Polkownik. the COG, Ms. Bolenbacher.
Only announcement is our next COG meeting is next Thursday, November 20th at 6:30 here in Crafton. We are hosting, so I am not inviting you all to be there. I expect you to be there. And that's it.
All right.
Great. All right. Community announcements. We have our next council meeting is a change. It is Monday, November 24th, 7 o'clock. 6 o'clock will be the budget workshop. We have an employment opportunity for substitute part-time crossing guard for the Crafton Elementary, and you can apply online for that position. Crafton Celebration of Lights is Saturday, December 6th from 4 to 8, as Ms. Bolenbacher had said. It is at Crafton Park. Shop local vendors, including chocolates, small gifts, holiday treasures, and much more, will be there during that time. Entertainment begins at 6. That'll include the Joyful Noise and dance party with a dance party with Santa. I didn't know that. Holiday Bubble House and the choir. Santa does come on a fire truck. This has been a long-time Crafton tradition. On Saturday, December 20th, beginning at 9, Santa, Mrs. Claus, and the volunteer fire department will work their way through the streets of Crafton by fire truck and then visit Thornburg and Roslyn Farms. Listen for the sirens to enjoy Crafton tradition. Okay. Any other announcements by anybody?
Erin, what time is COG typically?
6:30.
6:30, okay.
All right. Public comments. At this time, citizens may address the Crafton Borough Council on any issue. Only residents, taxpayers of the Borough of Crafton will be permitted to address the council. Speakers will be permitted to speak for a maximum of 3 minutes. Groups of people will be required to designate a spokesperson to represent them before the council, who may speak for a maximum of 5 minutes. Council has the option to respond or not at the end of the address. The solicitors are assigned timekeeper. Please state your name and physical address for the record. So for here, because the sign-in sheet isn't there, if you want to raise your hand, you can do so. James?
Oh, perfect. Thank you.
Okay. My neighbor wanted me to show a quick video. My name is James Megan, 96 Starrett Street. He wanted me to show a video with you guys right there.
I'll share the screen, Rob.
I'm sorry, who did? Sorry.
My neighbor did.
Oh, your neighbor, I'm sorry.
Yeah. So this has been 3 years. I've been talking about the same street. Nothing really has happened. The idea, though, is that people do speed down that street. They race down that street. Kids play on that street. I've said all this 1,000 times. I have that video. I have another video, if you want me to share that, of me crossing the street and a car coming from Pittsburgh ran the stop sign and then actually accelerated towards me. This is stuff that happens on a regular basis. It seems to have fallen on deaf ears because it has been 3 years since I've been saying the exact same thing. If a picture is worth 1,000 words, I've said 1,000 words. I hope a video helps say more than that. So I would appreciate anything, really. My neighbors would, the children would. As that neighborhood, and especially the Pittsburgh side, gets more populated with children, it's probably safe to do something. We've just been keeping track of all these things. We've been keeping track of all the times that I've been here talking to you guys, warning you about a problem. In the event that something happens, that's on you. So we do our best to keep our children safe, but you guys have to do something about that. When the street was first paved, they took the bricks out. They took the bricks out and they showed us a plan. They said, we're going to have traffic abatement bump outs put in here that'll help kind of slow things down. They never did anything like that. They just paved it, made it smooth as glass, and cars just race through. They run stop signs constantly. It's a regular occurrence. So I would say, as far as like the brick streets go, be kind of wary about what you give up and what you lose, because this is the stuff that's probably going to happen to you.
Does anybody want to address?
I'd like to address
Yeah.
this. So to say that it's fallen on deaf ears is not true. We have done a lot, and I will talk with the chief, and what we have to understand is that we have a lot of intersections, and we do have a lot of trouble, and we mostly have 2 officers on. Now, we will, once again, have a expanded presence there to see if we can deter this, but you know, I appreciate it, I understand it, but it's also, it's as much of an issue on the city side that we don't really have a lot of control over. So I don't know what else to say, except that, you know, once again, excuse me?
I live in Crafton, though.
I know you live in Crafton. I know where you live. And we've done a lot there. And I will talk with the chief, and we will do more monitoring, because if we have more citations there, it will usually calm down for a while. But to say that it's been on deaf ears is just not true. We've tried to do a number of different things. We've had this we've talked with the city. I mean, one of the other problems right now, and I will say again, I know you went, Jim, at one point, you went and cut vegetation down from that stop sign.
Knocked on the door of the person and had them cut it down.
Right, well, it's
Yeah,
back
yeah.
to that. You can't see it.
Yep.
You can't see it. And so, I mean.
You can't see what?
You can't see the stop sign.
Stop sign,
The
okay.
city
On the
stop
on the
sign,
side.
we don't have control, we can't have Public Works cut it down, but I went and
And,
asked them.
and I'm not minimizing the trouble here. I am not minimizing the trouble. But, you know, I think all over, not just here, but everywhere, drivers have become more impatient and more aggressive. And, you know, we're doing the best we can in this town, but again, we never have more than 2 officers on at any one time, so they can't be everywhere. But we'll give this another go, and we'll have more visibility there for a while.
And I can add a couple things. We did put speed monitors in multiple times, and those speed monitors reportedly, and we showed you the data, shows that it is very uncommon. They almost never speed there. But you get 6,000 cars a day down that road. So even if only 1% of them speed, you're going to see people speeding. And we did add stop bars at each one of those stop signs, except for the one at the end, which isn't as much of a risk. So that should notify. But those are not good locations for speed bumps because they're too close together. You already only have 400 feet between stop signs. And oftentimes when you add speed bumps in a place like that, all people do is race from speed bump to speed bump and cause more issues. And so it is a very high volume street. You're never going to make it so that traffic isn't busy, and you're never going to make it perfect. But the information that we've had from when we've put speed monitoring up there is it's not a significant problem from breaking the speed limit perspective. Maybe they're accelerating very quickly from one stop sign to the next, but there's no way for us to, you can't ticket someone for accelerating quickly. So,
Didn't we discuss also putting kids at play signs up there?
and we did do that.
Yeah,
We
we
did
did add some watch children signs, we did add speed limit signs,
Okay.
stop
We
bars.
put sensors up there, we put the stop bars up there. Yep.
What's this, tell me what a
Stop bar is when you paint a white line
That's right,
on the
okay.
road, just to make it more
Yep,
visually.
visual,
Now,
gotcha.
it is a little challenging because the stop signs are at the top of the hill.
Mm.
So you don't see those stop bars till you get right on them.
Yeah.
It's an unfortunate, just the way the hill is set up
Yeah.
there.
James, do you have other suggestions that we can try? I'd love to see a police officer up there and just
Wait.
pull people over.
You have to come up. Steph, do you want to come up? Yeah. Yeah. And she gets 3 minutes, so you can come up and talk for 3 minutes, Steph.
All right, well, I'm Stephanie Mangan, also at 96 Sterrett. So being in this district or this borough for many, many years, I know that down on Backbone, years ago, there used to be police officers constantly parked there. They would pull people over left and right. Sometimes it was obnoxious, but it developed a reputation for a place. You do not go over the speed limit. I absolutely think that we have the ability. I mean, you just put an officer there, even for a couple of weeks, or just, at some regular basis, and you just pull, because, and this is not an exaggeration, James and I have a tradition during the summer warm months. We sit on our porch in the morning, and it is constant. I see people driving like bleep holes. And we have 3 children in our neighborhood. All of those children are walkers down to the school. And we do like to take advantage of that. I like to give my kids that independence. They run around the neighborhood. I appreciate that, but it is really frightening. And what you just saw, things like that, that is not the first time I've seen a car just speed past another vehicle. I've seen it myself. So I think bringing our police officers, pulling people over, it feels aggressive, but I love the reputation of you do not speed there, you do not go through those stop signs, the police will pull you over. And, let's be a place of law and order again. That's my suggestion, so.
Well,
And I
as
have
I
young
said,
kids,
I
and
will- Wait.
I don't want to
sorry.
hear
I
excuses.
thought you
Anything
finished.
happens to those kids, because something happened to my neighbor earlier this month. She got in a car wreck because people are driving like bleep holes, and I think we need to come down aggressively on people who are driving like this, because I want our neighborhood to have the reputation of being, this is the place where you ease up. There are children, so, yeah, thank you.
Thanks, Stephanie.
As I said,
go ahead.
I committed to talk with the chief, and they're, one of the things that they've been doing since Chief Ford has come on board is we have been doing a lot more aggressive traffic control, and I will make sure that you get some of that over there. And you will, hopefully that will help the situation.
All right, thank you. Anybody else? Yes, Carla.
Carla Palua, East Crafton Avenue. I have a question concerning the conversation around Belvedere Avenue. We were talking about some of the homes there on Belvedere being grandfathered in, and then, Jim, I believe it was you that said that the home would be grandfathered in for now. Could you elaborate on what you meant when you said grandfathered in for now? What would change a home from being grandfathered in?
Is that your only question?
Mm-hmm.
I might have misspoke as far as for now. Basically, building is grandfathered in unless they try to do, if a building is not, like, so if you switch it to single family and those 3 apartment buildings are on that street, if they decide to do any major construction or any kind of construction where it changes the footprint of their building at all, it's not illegal. So then they're not grandfathered in anymore. And that's what I mean by you're not grandfathered. You're grandfathered in until you try to change your building at all, and then you're not grandfathered in.
So the only way a home will stay grandfathered in if it doesn't change the structure, is what you're saying?
Not a home, a multi-unit home. Single-family homes are treated differently. Single-family homes are treated, they have much more leeway on what you can and can't do. But a commercial home, a multi-family home, if you change the footprint of that structure at all, thus, basically, if you have a non-conforming home, you can't make it more non-conforming. And thus, it'll lose its grandfather. It won't be able to change. It wouldn't be able to do that. So if they wanted to make any major updates to a building, and any of those updates require pulling a zoning permit, it wouldn't be allowed.
So you're saying you just misspoke when you said they would be grandfathered in for now, because that was your exact words?
Yeah, I mean, in the way that, yeah.
I don't think Jim misspoke, because it's for now until there's a change, okay? So if you look in the zoning ordinance document, there's 2 different, we're talking about non-conforming uses and non-conforming structures. So if the use changes, you lose the grandfathered use, right? So a multifamily turns into single family, you lose it. If the structure, if there are rules around height, around side yards, et cetera, that are different tomorrow than they are under the current ordinance, and you change your home, you have to apply to the new standards, right? Or your multifamily, or your commercial business. That's what this is. And so when Jim says for now, he's just alluding to the fact that things can change if you change your home. It's not permanent unless everything stays the same. Use and structure.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
All right, great, thank you. Yeah, Terry.
Hi, Terry Midgley, 84 South Linwood. I just have a question about the Borough trees. It's very unfortunate that happened, okay? I would like to have seen Blystone be held responsible, especially with the owner being out of state. Most people, when you have a contractor, you rely on them to get the permits. And from what I understood from that conversation that night, Blystone's response was, oh, I didn't know we needed a permit. You know, so I think they should be held accountable too. But what I want to ask is, first of all, the trees in the greenway there are the property of the boroughs, right? like between the sidewalk and the street.
Yeah.
Okay.
We'll explain, yeah.
Okay. So the property between the sidewalk and the street, any trees planted there is the borough, okay? I think even a blurb or something in the newsletter, people have to know that, okay? That they can't do anything to those trees, because wasn't this just adopted several years ago or something? Okay, so I'm not saying it's a bad thing, I'm just saying I don't think people know, okay? And the second thing is, if those trees are the property of the borough, then who is responsible for the sidewalk damage caused by those trees? And, you know, because anybody that walks around sees that those heritage trees, you know, they really have done some major damage, and so that shouldn't be the property's owner. Okay?
Great questions. I think for Blystone, yeah, I mean, we did send.
The ordinance
Yeah.
doesn't permit that. It's between the property owner and their contractor, if anybody wants to do something about that.
Yeah. So Blystone, along with several other contractors, were sent letters so that they would know that they can't take those trees or do anything with them. They've been here a long time. Yeah. So that's where it is. And to hold them accountable, they were the ones that took down the tree, but they weren't the owner that initiated it. The sideline or the tree lines are anything that's from the sidewalk to the street, the area, the grass strip in between there. That is, any trees that are in there are borough trees. And we are no longer planting trees in there except for, I think, up towards where it's a little bit bigger. The sideline is more than 3 feet, then the trees are going to be okay. But anything that's like this small, 1 to 2 feet, the trees aren't going to survive.
Sorry.
I can't talk.
You're out of time.
I'm out of time. So unfortunately, you know, our predecessors all planted, that's where they planted all the trees, the ones on Steuben, everywhere. So the goal from our tree plantings are to move the trees into people's yards. That's where they're successful, they'll grow, they'll be okay. They won't affect typically the sidewalks or the streets and cause any problems for the futures. But the ones we have now, fortunately, we're removing a lot because they're dying, because their roots just cannot survive. Half their roots are cut off because they have nowhere to go. And then the sidewalk damage, do you guys know the
Sidewalks are the responsibility of the property owner.
Right. And a lot of times, if there is a tree on it, you can do a circle around that tree roots to repair the sidewalk. But
I was going to say,
yeah,
don't do anything to those roots. You better make your application and go see the Shade Tree Commission
Right.
before you do that, because you could end up damaging or killing the tree, and then you'll find yourself in the same boat as 52 Bradford, or worse.
Yeah. Yep. So it's a difficult situation that'll take time to rectify. Thank you, Terry. Great questions. Right, Crystal?
Okay, I'd like to talk about Crystal Beam, by the way. The motion that was just awarded for the Brick Street repair, rather than patch Belvedere Street around the conservatorship property at 82 Belvedere, I'd like you to at least consider maybe eliminating that from the $115,000 and considering that in the long haul when that house gets resolved with the conservatorship, rather than do a patch. So one of the other things I would like to talk about as well was, you were talking about streets earlier. The street signs that the Old Historical Society had put in, they have the large bases and they're detached from the pole itself, and a lot of them are pulling away, and the painting is all chipped off. Maybe considering some money in the budget to repair all of those, because they are nice street signs, and I'd hate to see them fall apart any more than they have. Other than that, I would like to say I have a lot of signs around Crafton. Anybody see these little red birds on the little signs. Okay, I represent Crafton Heritage. We are an all-volunteer 501c3 nonprofit that lifts this community up. And last year, we were in the process of completing this book. So we have a program coming up where we typeset this, we proofed it, we enhanced it. We tabled it last year to do the house tour because we had 7 house histories to do. People really wanted this, so we brought it back, and we needed a platform in order to roll this book out and to launch it. So what we're doing is a little platform called Home for the Holidays Book Launch and History Tour. What this entails is on December 5th, from the hours of 6 to 10 p.m., you can come to the, you can come to the, you can come to the Cafe 412 Events Center. We'll have some cookies, some eggnog, some hot apple cider, some hot chocolate, and some shots to go with them. You'll get to watch a little documentary about Crafton and its founding and how it ties to Craft Avenue in Oakland. You'll get to purchase this book at a reduced price. We'll have 500 copies available. We hope to penetrate the market so that if we do, chances are 100 years from now, somebody like myself will find this and be curious and decide to want to recirculate it so that we can keep the spirit of what's come and gone alive. So with that, I'd like to invite everybody to join us. We will have some reenactors there. We'll have a Mr. and Mrs. Kraft. We'll have Santa and Mrs. Santa. It's really going to be a magical night. We have 2 homes on Belvedere. One of them is mine. I was on tour in 2013 raising money for this borough. I will be on tour again for this event. We're going to teach you how to do a house history. And if you don't want to do it on your own, we can certainly do that for you. After we teach you how to do a house history and we show you one that's complete, you'll be able to walk through the homes that have had the histories complete to be able to kind of feel it and live it. So 2 homes on our street will be on tour. Mine will be all 3 floors. My neighbors will be 1 floor. It's a very nice night out for $15, $20 at the door. And you can get the book at a discounted price of $25, it's a fundraiser, or $30 after the tour. So we'd like to invite everybody to join us. I'll be back at the next council meeting to remind you one more time. And Jim Price, I've asked you to put this on Savvy Citizen this coming Friday, also next Friday, and possibly the Thursday before the event if we can honor that. Thank you.
Thank you. I think.
Any questions?
Yeah, let me see. The Brick Street eliminating Belvedere, I think the motion did pass tonight, so if there's any changes, that would be the next meeting. The signs, anything on the street signs?
Yeah, so I'm going off what she said. There are a lot of street signs in the borough with the bases. They have the decorative bases to them, and just over time, lawn care around them. There are significant amount of chips in the paint, and it's been on the list of maybe being like a summer employee activity, going around doing a borough-wide program where they just repaint all the bases. It's just something that hasn't been implemented yet, but has been thought about, and we'll look into it more.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I was just
even-
going to say that maybe an Eagle Scout project in the future.
Sure. Yeah, we're open to volunteers, I think, but just got to touch base with Public Works first about it, because this falls into their category of work, so.
I think it would make a great Eagle Scout, if I might add that, because that's how this second printing came about, was an Eagle Scout took this on. Only 85 copies of this have ever been in circulation, so I think it'd be fun.
And just to add, we focused first on actually getting all the signs replaced.
Right.
There were probably 15 that were not when I started, and we're down to 3.
Yeah, there were about, I think 17 street signs that still needed to be upgraded to the historical look, the dark blue and white trim. And I think there's only 3 left now that we have Public Works left to put up. So all those will be up, and technically all the street signs in the borough should be up to caliber.
Yep.
Great. All right, thank you, Crystal.
Thank you, and thank you for all you do. I mean, this was a long meeting tonight, very exhausting, and I know what it takes to run a board and to be a volunteer, so I just want to thank everybody.
Appreciate that, thank you. All right. Anybody else in the audience? Linda?
Linda Wozniak, 1773 Bar. Jim, what have you discovered regarding the uncollected trash bills? I know there was an enigma there where we just didn't know why there were so many uncollected ones. Mr. Hof, who's the current borough auditor? I don't know who that is. As far as the Brick Street repair, yes, and yes. We definitely need it done. It's just a swallow hole in the middle of our street. So if you need one more resident, I have a few more in the gallery here that can attest to that fact for both Bar and Clearview. Personally, I know those need repaired. And who were the two dissenters, Mr. President, for the motion to pass that? And on a contract basis, what for the Brick Street repair, are there contract specs that speak to this color, size, or quality of the brick that the replacement will be, versus just putting yellow brick in a red brick street? And finally, I noticed a curb cut on Steuben Street to accommodate a Bradford pear tree. Silly, we're putting in new curbs. I can't imagine why we would work around an invasive tree that would probably, be removed or not be there in 20 years versus the curb that should be there for many years. Is this something that the borough requested we accommodate, or just a contractor whim? That's all I have. Thank you very much.
I wrote them all down, yeah. The trash bills?
Oh, yes. We're still working on that. We did determine, I did learn that we have been, for the last several years, coming in well below what we thought what we should be coming in at. And we're below even what Jordan Tax says is their average. So we're looking into, we know we do have some houses on there that need to be removed, but that's only I think there's only 20 or so. And now it's a further investigation to figure out where the issue is. I'm not entirely sure where the issue is, so that's the work that we're doing now.
You said Jordan Tax, typical 90% is their average collection, and we're barely at 80.
Correct. So. Yeah. Well, we were at
we're at 80.
What's that?
I think we're at 88.
No, not this year. We're not. We're at 76 this year so far. Now that's typical because a lot of people pay in installments.
Right.
But even with overall collections, with just this year, or just the year you're in, I think it was 82% in 23, 86% last year, and we're only at 76% so far this year. We did anticipate it'd be a little tougher because we had a pretty significant increase, and that can hurt people. But we're not sure. We're still working on the data and trying to figure out why we're that low. So.
All right. The borough auditor, is Meyer Dressel, is our current one.
Mauer Dussel, yeah. And just all the audits are online. You can go on and look at them. We post them online. As a matter of fact, I had a banker tell me today that they don't ever see a municipality who has as much stuff posted online as we do with accounts and our budgets and financial reports and whatnot. So
I appreciate you answering that for me, because every time I say it, I sound like I have a mouthful of marbles.
Yeah.
So thank you.
It's a strange pronunciation. So it's the bricks who dissented was myself and Mike were the dissenters on that. And the contract color, size, and quality of the bricks.
So everything that gets repaired out there is slated and contracted to be placed in kind, meaning that the contractor will be using the same bricks that are out there now, just resetting them accordingly and to the proper grade of the street. Talking to the contractor, if they were to somehow need to replace any bricks, that they are to use what we have in our stockpile down at the Public Works building. As far as the color goes, if the brick is red, it's going to stay red. If it's yellow, it's going to stay yellow. The idea is to reuse as many bricks as possible. We don't want to have to purchase any new bricks for this, because new bricks are not the same shape as the ones that are currently out on the street. They're more sharp-edged and I don't know, flatter, needs to say, but have a difference in appearance. But that answers the question.
Great. And then the curb cut on the Bradford Prayer tree on Steuben Street.
This I'm not aware of. Is there an address this is nearby? I can look into it.
I haven't driven down there because of construction, but I saw one.
What's it near? Can you tell me what it's near?
Probably close to the post office.
Okay.
Wait, you said Bradford. Oh, you said Bradford
Bradford
Pear.
Pear.
On Steuben.
Yes.
Oh, okay, sorry. I thought you said Bradford Street. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Jim, it was a student there on
Yes.
And see, the only other option is to cut it down too. So that would be if they didn't fix it, because the tree's probably growing bigger than the sidewalk. So that's why they do the curb cuts. But otherwise, it's taking it down, and eventually they'll probably all have to come down, unfortunately, because they are now, you can no longer buy them because they're an invasive tree. All right, Sandy.
Sandy Moore, 1781 Bar Avenue. Just a quick question. The folks that got the brick street repair project, were those the same people that we sold bricks to earlier this year? And if not, did that company even bid on the job?
Is that it?
That's it.
Okay.
Okay. Well, first off, the bricks were sold to Carnegie,
Carnegie,
not to
yeah.
a company. And
I thought it was a specific company that
It's Carnegie Borough.
needed them.
it was their project, Carnegie's project. But the contractor who worked with us on selling the bricks was Salente, and they were the same contractor that was on the lowest bidder for this.
Okay, thanks.
Anybody else? Justin?
Hey folks, Justin Marks, 31 Oregon. Now I want to touch back on the point about traffic that we heard earlier. I think it's a piece of feedback I've heard for at least 5 years here on various streets, whether it's, Crafton Boulevard coming down the hill from the west end, or Crafton Boulevard after you get past Emily heading towards the school. All of the kind of random North Linwood intersections where it's stop one way and not another. I heard from a resident on Union. I know we've heard a couple of times when you're coming down Steuben from the city and you can turn left onto Union. There's folks that are like taking that shortcut to avoid the traffic light to turn left on Noble. And I've heard there's been at least one car going through hedges in recent memory. I think a lot of the requests for stop signs, speed bumps, other traffic calming, whether it's bump outs or something else, I think we have a lot of different spots in the neighborhood that sure, additional police eyes could help, but ultimately we need to systematically change something about the streets to make this town that we call so walkable more walkable without having to worry about our kids being out there. So that was it.
Thank you, Justin. Does anybody want to address on the statement? Anybody else? Greg? Yeah, I know. We'll go to online.
Greg Wozniak, 1773 Bar Avenue. I want to talk quickly about Belvedere Street. Right now, Belvedere Street, we have the option right now, or the opportunity right now, to fix Belvedere Street with the new zoning code. Right now it's R2. We could change it to to neighborhood residential, and this way we would eliminate any additional apartment housing on Belvedere Street. It's been said here, and it's true, that Belvedere Street is a small street, dead-end street, and can't handle that much traffic. As far as using the two apartment buildings as saying that they would be grandfathered in, and I think that those two apartment buildings I wouldn't give up the whole street for those 2 apartment buildings, which probably will never see any major renovations that would require them to be, for what Jim was saying. So I say that's really shouldn't be part of the discussion. So anyway, I just want to say that we have an opportunity to fix Belvedere Street with the new zoning code and to make it a neighborhood residential zone there, and make the whole street residential and get rid of a lot of the problems that are there right now. So that's one thing. The other thing is, last week there was an incorrect statement. I would like that to be, for the record, to be fixed about the about our position, having a board position on the land bank. So if someone could officially fix that, I'd appreciate it. And also, we've been waiting for a list of blighted properties, and was wondering when that list is going to come about. So, and also, I'm with everybody else about speed control in the borough. Thank you.
All right. Statement about the Belvedere zoning, and then the statement about the board position on the land bank. You want to address that?
Not the Belvedere, I've already stated
Right,
the
yeah,
piece
not
on
the
the Belvedere piece. For the board, I did misspeak in the last meeting, and I've said in several meetings that we're on the advisory board, and we will be on the advisory board, but I misspoke at that meeting, and at one point said that we'd be on the board. That is not true. We'll be on the advisory board, and I apologize. And I did apologize to Greg for making that. After the meeting, I apologized. I had misspoke. I went back and rewatched the video. But we will be on the advisory board, just not on the actual board. And that's true of most municipalities who are members of the land bank.
And the list of blighted properties?
We do anticipate having that out in the next week or two. So we had do a lot of due diligence and make sure that we're not not putting something out that has someone listed that shouldn't be listed, essentially. You don't want to put out that someone has a blighted property when they don't. So we had Season go through the whole list of both condemned properties, properties that are hoarded, properties that are blighted, and all the different scenarios, so that we had something accurate to put out.
All right, anyone else? Okay. Online, please raise your hand. We have Steve Crescenzo.
Steve's been up a while.
Yeah.
Steve?
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Hello? Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you, yes.
Okay. Yeah, just a couple of thoughts to follow up on the speeding and traffic that we're seeing on our side streets. In Green Tree Borough, there are a few streets where that borough has put up signs restricting through traffic during certain hours. That in conjunction with police presence has done really well for those affected neighborhoods. That's possibly something we could look at for James's situation, Sterrett, and then also on Duncan. I know we have the speed monitor up down here on Duncan now, but yesterday with the traffic tie-up, it was a pretty steady stream of traffic, with about 1 out of every 2 cars stopping at the stop sign and the other one flying through. So if we take a signage that limits through traffic during peak hours, during rush hours, and couple that with intermittent police presence, I think that would probably go a long way for curtailing any traffic that's kind of using our neighborhoods just to pass through quickly.
All right, great. Anything else, Steve?
No, that was it.
Okay, thank you. Does anybody have any response or thoughts on that?
Those are all good comments. And
I like it because it feels like a new, I didn't think about the restricted like throughway. So that feels almost like a new sign that I didn't think about. So it's kind of nice to have something.
But then again, they get treated like a lot of our signs.
I know, but I just like that it was a new idea.
Right.
Right. I think you had mentioned Green Tree has some certain things, so that might be an area to look into. Yep. All right. Anyone else? Cody Sheets.
Should be live, Cody.
Can everybody hear me?
Yes.
Okay. As far as the traffic goes, LED lit stop signs are pretty proven, just statistically, to be like 41% more effective, roughly, in a lot of states or cities that have them. That's just one extra thought to have to that. Something I wanted to address that bothered me in this meeting is Steve, Mr. Solicitor, I think a pattern with your interactions with community members is that it kind of comes off condescending, and maybe even as an overstep of your position. So when a resident is asking the borough manager a question and the borough manager is in the middle of answering the question and you interject and you insist on answering the question, I just find it to be a little bit of an overreach. If the borough manager or anybody else asks you for your opinion legally on that, then that's great. But, again, I think this goes with a pattern that you have certainly been spoken to about by borough officials. We approved tonight spending almost $300,000 while also discussing issues with budgeting versus expenditures. And with that in mind, how is it possible that we have not fixed the garage floor in our police department yet when the estimate for that came in well under $300,000 to fix it? It's the only building in the entire borough that's operational 24/7. So why wouldn't we make that a priority for the safety of our officers as well as arrestees? Last question, how much have we spent thus far from beginning to now on the new public works building? How much is projected to be spent in the future? And when will the building be projected to be completed?
Okay. All right. Making statements about people personally is not something I like to have in my council meetings. So for that, you can certainly address it if you'd like, but otherwise we will take that as a statement. Sure. Garage door, police department, that was discussed during our budget meetings, which we've had prior to every meeting. Do we want to respond to that, or we've already discussed it several times?
I mean, it's on the budget for the new year, and it'll probably be done in the first part of the new year.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Okay, so that will be happening. How much has been spent on the public works building from now into, or from prior into the future?
It will come out to being about what it should be for a building of that size, and it'll be around 2.5 million when it's all said and done.
All right. Anybody else online?
Can I just do a little
Yeah.
devil's advocate? Can you do the Cliff Notes version of when that building started and how that was?
Oh, yeah, we can, yeah, I would be clear, this council did not decide on that.
Okay.
building. This council had almost no votes. I think you were the only one who had a vote and voted against it, if I remember correctly. So nobody on this council has voted for that building. When I took over in January of 2023, that building was already a shell and was just left because it was oversized, essentially. It was much larger than what was initially requested by Public Works and then built, but at some point, decisions were made by a previous council to build a much larger building and in a different place. It's actually partially in Roslyn Farms because of the weird line, the way the line goes down there. But we have it now, and we have to finish it. And so that's what we've been working on. So to be clear, this council, only one of the members of this council even voted on that project.
Well, and she's not a member of council anymore.
Right, and she's not a member of council anymore, right, correct. So,
Great. Great, great. Anyone else online?
But, I mean, can I say one
Yeah.
other thing? Because you guys always joke that this is the mayor's memorial, because I get so upset about how much we're spending on it. You know, at the end of the day, we are going to have, you know, I don't want to say world-class, but we will have a facility that is up to par with the facilities of other municipalities around us. And it's something that's, you know, been greatly needed. You know, we had, you know, you guys are all dealing with the cards that have been dealt before, and you've made a lot of very careful, conscious decisions about how you've gone about it. And, you know, the fact that the existing building wasn't expanded where it stood, the way the original thought was, not your fault. But then, you know, you're left with this big hulking thing, and our public works in an old, dilapidated, out-of-date facility, and you guys have worked really hard. So, you know, even though you guys tease me all the time about this, good work.
Anything else? All right. Hearing no more comments, meeting is adjourned. It is 9:41 p.m. Thanks, everyone.